All right, good afternoon and welcome to the 345 on day number 2. We are going to get started. My name is Ryan Gellner. I am the Vision Zero Outreach Director for the North Dakota Association of Counties, and this is the Student Changemakers panel leading the charge for safer schools and communities. These 6 students are a panel that have successfully implemented student-led programs and projects in their schools and their communities. So good to see so many of you take in some of their insight today. A couple of rules, as you all know by now, but we'll hold questions until the end. With questions in this session specifically, this is a recorded session, so if you do have questions, we need you to come to a microphone. We'll have a roving microphone, and we have one microphone in the middle as well. So again, we have a recorded session, so please use the microphone so the audience at home can hear your questions. At the end of each presenter, let's have some applause. Applause means that it was a good show. If you don't clap, that means it was a bad show. So let's have a good show. All right? Hey, all right. We're off to a great start. Let me introduce to you our first speaker, who is Emma Mays. Emma is a sophomore at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, double major in communication studies and media and journalism with a focus on advertising and public relations. In January 2024, she became a SAD, Students Against Destructive Decisions intern. She founded her own chapter, and she joined SAD's Emerging Leaders Council. Please welcome Emma Mays.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming to our session today. I know it's kind of late in the day, but we're grateful that you are here. As previously mentioned, my name is Emma Mays. I am the Community Engagement Intern for North Carolina. I've been doing this for about a year. It's been a great ride. As mentioned, I also go to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Let's go Tar Heels. I bleed Carolina blue, for anyone wondering. I see that in the back. I appreciate you. Yes, I appreciate you. So I'll get into our presentation today. I want to highlight the importance of peer-to-peer education today. Peer-to-peer education is a way to educate young people on issues such as driver safety, mental health resources, and just other issues that impact young people. This leads students to become change makers in their own communities, their homes, their schools, and promote positive decision-making in the community. Peer-to-peer education is highly impactful as it lets students take the lead in bettering their communities. It also leads to a conversational approach, so it's not somebody kind of lecturing at you. It's just your friend sitting in the car with you going, hey, can we buckle up? And little things like that. It's really nice for students to hear from people their own age. Using this approach, difficult topics become more conversational and lead to this positive change that we would really like to see in our communities. If you have heard any of the wonderful people I work with at SAD's presentation, you have probably seen this slide and probably heard this spiel, but I'm going to give it to you again anyways. SAD was founded in 1981 after one hockey team suffered the loss of several students in different alcohol-related incidents in Massachusetts. Their peers said, hey, enough is enough. We've got to do something about this. So Students Against Drunk Driving was born. Moving into 1997, our mission expanded. A group of students, they requested this. They came to us and they said, hey, we want to talk about more. We want to talk about drug-impaired driving, drowsy driving, distracted driving, more than just drunk driving, but we still talk about that as well. We also added substance use programs and a focus on personal health and safety for our students to address emotional driving. Today, we continue to expand our programs with a national network of thousands of chapters across all 50 states, everything from elementary schools to colleges and community coalitions. The SAD model focuses on peer education, peer-to-peer, and youth empowering youth. This photo is actually from my very own chapter that I run at UNC with our Vice President, Langdon Luther. I couldn't do what I do without the help of my wonderful team. We use a model reliant on the youth taking their hands on learning and involvement to create events and fun ways to mobilize students. SAD promotes education through fun activities that bond students, and we keep up with one another. The relationships that we have with one another are what bring us back to chapter, what bring us back to our events. I know in my own chapter, we all have a Snapchat group, and we all talk, and we all hold each other accountable, and that's part of what really makes us flourish and become the change makers in our community. With an organization like this, you really do have to trust the process throughout. There's going to be highs and there's going to be lows. You have to lean on your support of people that you have, and when an event doesn't go the way you want to, you kind of have to sit back, evaluate it, and continue on with your process. Through SAD, they have many school safe driving initiatives. One that I'd like to highlight is the Quick Click Challenge. This is a challenge that is a personal favorite. It involves a team of 4 students piling into a vehicle to put on their seatbelts as quickly as possible. And if you don't have a vehicle, you can just set up 4 chairs and compete with each other. Once all 4 students are buckled with their hands up, they get out and rotate to the next seat in the vehicle, and so on and so forth. Once the team has made its way to every seat, they get a final time of around 30 seconds, depending on how fast you are. If you're slow, it might be a little longer. But the lesson is this is that if you can buckle into all 4 seats of a car in under a minute, you can always take a few seconds out of your day to buckle in when you get into a car with a friend. Another initiative that has high rates of engagement is our Please Return on Monday program, or prom. This simple school-wide event is intended to remind students to refuse impaired driving on prom night and make it home safely to their loved ones. We all know our moms were waiting for us to get home from prom eagerly and anxiously. Some schools host mock crashes or demonstration with their local law enforcement, and others simply provide a banner for students to sign to say, hey, like, I'm not going to drink and drive. Each event still works and functions in the way that we want to, using peers telling other peers. What makes these events so cool is being able to see in real time the culture behind traffic safety and underage drinking shift. An important aspect of committing to safety at prom is reminding students to call their parents and talk to their family and trusted adults if they find themselves in a situation that they didn't intend on seeing that night. Parents will always prefer to hear a call that says, please come get me, Mom, I don't feel okay, rather than one from the police. At my own university, we host many safe driving initiatives. One of my favorites, it was actually our first event as a chapter, which was really exciting, was traffic safety trivia. We offered prizes to get students involved because at Carolina, I don't know what all you know about us, but we love a competition. UNC Duke rivalry is crazy, and we continue that rivalry into everything we do. So if we can make something a game or a competition, we're gonna do it. It was a great event. We had high turnout, especially as just like a new chapter on campus. That was really exciting. So we highlighted things that we thought people might not know or that they think they know, but they really don't. So that was really exciting. Towards the end of it, we even got 2 girls that were tied, and they were like screaming over what color cars like get caught the most in traffic. It was kind of crazy. We also had PS I Love You Day, which is a national holiday on Valentine's Day, so they kind of like go together. So students are already out, which is really important to kind of just meet students where they're at, find them, not make them find you. It was a simple tabling event that we did where students could write cards to remind people that they are loved and cared about, and also free candy. Who doesn't love free candy as a college student? I know I do. Anything free, I will be there. So events like these were awesome. We also had little cards made by one of the amazing people on my team, Hope. Wave your hand, Hope. She made these beautiful laminated cards that people could put in their car windshields that kind of reminded them to be safe because somebody at home is waiting on you. Moving forward, the role of social media in what we do is highly important because what are teens doing, what are young adults doing? They're on their phones. We're always all on our phones. And so we utilize different social media platforms such as Instagram, Snapchat, and what I'm learning a lot of people aren't very familiar with, Yik Yak, to get our students involved and coming to our events. We increase campaign awareness. We have event pages and RSVPs. We have a form at my university called Heal Life where students can say that they're coming. They can answer questions if we need to know, do you have dietary restrictions or anything like that? We also build community through this. I've had some great experiences of making new friends because my campus is so large. If you don't know anything about us, we've got like 20,000 undergraduates. So you kind of get lost in a sea of people. So sometimes you see familiar faces coming back and you get to know each other and you see each other around and you grab lunch and it's really nice. And social media also gives an expanded reach. You're able to reach people easily because they're already on their phones, and when you tag people or you send them things, they're gonna just kind of look at it. It's easy. So that's one way that we really like to use social media. Overall, though, some best practices and key takeaways is to empower, engage, mobilize, and change. When you come to empower, you need to focus on the student. What do they want? What are they looking for? And how can we help them get there? You need to engage it. engage the student. The program needs to be fun. If it's not fun, no one will go. I'm telling you from experience, no one will go. So you have to have something that is fun and gets people moving and talking and doing different fun things that you want to see. You also have to mobilize students. Take advantage of other mobilizers, like holidays like we did for PS I Love You Day. We knew that students would be out for Valentine's Day. We knew people would be on their phones, so we knew posting, we knew being in the pit where everyone has to walk through to get to their class would be a really great idea. And you also have to change. Let the students lead in their own communities. Be the head of your program. Be the voice behind your program. This is how we become change makers throughout our communities, schools, and in our homes. Thank you guys so much. For more about what we do at SAD, for a student perspective, anything Tar Heel related, feel free to reach out to me. My email is there. You can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. It's been great talking with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emma. Thanks for the applause as well. Great show. Good job. Shyla Hardowar is a high school senior aspiring physician and advocate for teen traffic safety. As social chair of the Florida Teen Safe Driving Coalition Ambassador Board, she educates students on all topics of traffic safety. She's also involved in, community service, Indian classical music, and medical initiatives, blending her passion for medicine with public health advocacy. Please welcome Shyla.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be here today to talk about distracted driving prevention from a teen's perspective. As you know, my name is Shyla Hardowar, and I am a member of the Florida Teen Safe Driving Coalition's Ambassador Board. And today I'll be sharing some initiatives we've been working on to tackle this distracted driving issue. So I hope you'll be inspired to take action in your own communities. So what exactly is the Florida Teen Safe Driving Coalition? Well, we're a grant-funded initiative supported by the Florida Department of Transportation, and we bring together a variety of groups, educators, parents, and of course teens, to make the roads safer for everyone. Our main education is peer-to-peer education, teens listening to other teens about how to drive safely. It's all about starting the conversation with people most affected by distracted driving, us. So when talking to teens about distracted driving, you need to speak their language. Here's what I've learned works. Avoid lecturing. We all know no one likes to be spoken down to. Instead, we should share real stories that teens can relate to. Highlighting immediate consequences is also important. Instead of only focusing on the long-term risks, emphasize the short-term impacts that matter right now. This can range anywhere from losing your phone to getting your driving privileges taken away or even damaging their car. These are things that teens care about now. Use humor and trends wisely. A well-timed joke or viral meme can grab attention, but it's key to keep the message serious. And show, don't just tell. Teens respond so much better to visuals and interactive learning. Videos, simulations, and hands-on activity like reaction time tests are really great tools to drive the point home. And all of the upcoming projects I'm going to share incorporate elements of these ideas. But why start from scratch when you can use proven strategies? So now I'm going to share a few projects that FTSDC ambassadors have done to engage teens and raise awareness about distracted driving. And these are things you can easily replicate in your schools, organizations, or communities. And don't worry, we have QR codes for each project, which will link you directly to detailed plans. So first, a safety fair. A safety fair is such a great way to reach a large audience with interactive exhibits and presentations. Think crash reenactments, trivia games, and even guest speakers from law enforcement, hospitals, and driving instructors. The idea is really to create a memorable experience that sticks with people long after they leave. And this next one's fun. It is a humorous campaign designed to remind teens to put down their phone when driving. We used high traffic areas at school, like the main hallway or the lawn outside the cafeteria, to draw attention in somewhat of a unique way. It's all about making people laugh while they learn a seriously important message. And then this next project encourages safe driving by getting creative with art. So students decorated the doors of their classroom with safety messages and designs, which create a visual reminder every time they walk in. And you could encourage this in your own schools or communities by offering a prize for the classroom with the best design. It really is so simple, but it gets people thinking about safe driving every time they walk by. And now we're getting to the fun ones. So Battle of the Belts is a really, really fun competition where schools challenge each other to increase safety belt use among students. But the twist is, if students notice someone driving distracted, they can issue a citation that educates the driver on safe practices. But on the flip side, those driving safely get rewarded. Think skipping the lunch line or getting a tardy pass. It's such a cool way to make safe driving fun but competitive. And another fun one is Ground Your Parents. So this campaign sort of flips the script and has teens encouraging their parents to drive safely. And here's a video that explains a little bit more.
Dad, what is this?
Well, that's just, it looks like...
It looks like you're taking selfies while driving.
Not while driving. I might be in the car, but
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm stuck in traffic on the way to work, and I figured I'd do a quick post to give you all some love. Remember to like and
Dad,
follow.
this is unacceptable.
Your mother liked it.
Driving distracted is just as bad as if you were drunk. Let's put the phone away when we're driving. Okay, champ?
So the Florida Teen Safe Driving Coalition offers a free Ground Your Parents kit, and this includes pledge cards, conversation starters, and reminders that help parents lead by example. The Safe Driving sticky note reminders hit parents with a safe driving message in places they least expect it, which makes it so much more memorable and fun in the process. Now, moving on to one of my personal projects, Real Risks focuses on how media influences teenage views on distracted driving. I created a pledge campaign and survey that asks students how they feel about distracted driving before and after watching a few short media clips. It really is all about understanding how what we see on screens impact our real-life choices. The media plays such a big role in how teens see driving. And through this survey, I've learned that teens know distractions are dangerous, but still do them anyway. For example, one student said, "I always drive with one hand, so it's easy for me to eat and drive." Another mentioned, "I'm a pro at driving, so it's easy for me to change the music on my phone." And these types of comments show us that teens often feel overconfident or don't fully realize the risks. It really is a wake-up call for us to create more education that addresses these misconceptions and helps us understand just how dangerous these behaviors are. As we all know, distracted driving is a lead cause of crashes among teens, and the media can shape how we view driving behaviors. So, by understanding this influence and this connection, we can make campaigns that actually resonate with teens and make a real impact. But we're not just here to share ideas, we also want to help you make a difference. So whether you need social media, content, or printed materials, we have your back. All resources from the Florida Teen Safe Driving Coalition are completely free thanks to the grants that we receive, so please don't hesitate to reach out to us for any collaboration. We offer branded social media files that you can use for free. If you email info@flteensafedriver.org, you can get access to ready-to-post graphics, videos, and messaging. Spreading awareness online is one of the easiest and most effective ways to reach teens. We also provide rack cards, do not disturb tip cards, and a full social media kit, all available for download. And if you're in Florida, we can even mail you printed copies for free for you to use in your schools and organizations. But in addition to those digital resources, we have way more. We offer yard signs and distracted driving prevention posters to help reinforce those safe driving messages. These are so perfect for schools, community centers, and events, places where you want to get the message out and keep it visible. So thank you guys so much for your time today. If you have any questions or want to collaborate with me on a project, feel free to reach out to me at Shyla@flteensafedriver.com. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our handle is @flteensafedriver, and that's where you can get more updates and resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Shyla. Cole Just is a sophomore at Lamoure High School in North Dakota and is a passionate is passionate about agriculture and traffic safety. A state ambassador for 4-H and active in FFA, he demonstrates leadership in agriculture education. He also serves as a student leader in North Dakota's Vision Zero High School program and plays on the Lamoure High School football team while gaining hands-on experience through his employer at Infinity Ag. Please welcome Cole.
I'm Cole Just, and I'm from a farm and ranch located about 12 miles west of Lamoure, which is where that little red star is. And I'll tell you a little about our high school. We only have 71 kids in our whole high school, 17 in my whole class. Little fun fact is my sister was the biggest class with only 22 kids in it, and we decided to become a Vision Zero school back in 2023 and actually won Vision Zero School of the Year in 2024. We picked distracted driving as our focus, and Ann will explain a little bit more about what a Vision Zero school is during her presentation. My legislative process for the Senate Bill 2362 was to change it from a secondary to primary enforcement. And the steps that I took to do that was I talked to representatives, I wrote a testimony, and then I testified in person in front of the House of Transportation Committee in Bismarck at the state capitol. This bill meant a lot to me because my mom is a first responder and a volunteer back at our hometown. And she definitely sees the worst of the worst crashes and has to deal with them on her own. She can't come home and tell us about them. So if this bill helps save just one person from having an injury or death that my mom has to go out and respond to, I think that's a huge win in my books. After I testified, the bill was sent to the House floor and it did pass. Here's a photo of our previous North Dakota Governor, Doug Burgum, signing it into law. Definitely wasn't easy. I know that people have been working to get this bill passed since I was in elementary school. And we still had a lot of work to do because from the time that I testified to the time the bill got signed into law, we had to let the public know that the bill was coming out. We had to tell them kind of what it's all going to inquire. So we have little handouts that people gave away. I submitted a letter to our local newspaper editor, and I know it was brought up during like driver's education. Testifying was the first major Vision Zero thing that I did, but after that I presented at state conferences and to local businesses. I did start applying for grants, and I bought Vision Zero air fresheners. That was a fun way to kind of get more information out there. We had booths in our school, and if you played trivia and got the correct answer, you'd get an air freshener. Then I bought sweatshirts for a Vision Zero team. My personal favorite was a pedal cart and drunk goggles. We also created PSA videos for our school's Facebook. I submitted photos and articles and upcoming events and information to a newspaper. There's a picture of the front chronicle. And then after that, we did a lot more general outreach in our community and at the state. We challenged Ann's school at like a little competition at a rival basketball game. You can ask her how that went. We are planning ahead for the next session. In my senior year, I'll get to help hopefully pass a bill called the Hands-Free Bill, which will help fight distracted driving, because in North Dakota, there's already a lot of distractions going on, whether it's weather, deer crossing, a lot of farming equipment. And hopefully, if this bill does pass, it'll save a lot of lives. The biggest question that I get asked is, how can your youth be involved? And I always say you got to find the right people. You need to find kids that have passion and want to see change, because the youth do want to help. The youth talk to youth the best. And most of the time there's a link to the cause of someone wanting change. For my example, it's my mom. And I know there's a lot of other students on our Vision Zero team that have first responders in their family, which make it a lot more effective to them. And our biggest thing is we want to be proactive and not reactive. Meaning we want to stop these crashes before they happen instead of reacting to them and seeing our parents rush out at the middle of the night having to go respond to a car crash. And it's not only the person who is involved in the crash, but everyone around them too that are affected. Thank you.
Thank you, Cole. Keiko Rakin is a junior at Alhambra High School in California. She serves as the chairperson of the Student Advisory Council and is a student board member on the Alhambra Board of Education, representing over 14,000 students. A graduate of the Be the Change Fellowship, she collaborates with ImpactTeenDrivers and Safe Kids Worldwide to promote safe driving. Passionate about policy, law, and human rights, Keiko is active in nonprofits and youth advocacy while she enjoys literature, poetry, and time with her cat, Moki. Did I get that right? Mochi. Here's Keiko.
Hello, everyone. I first want to thank you so much for being here today. It really means a lot coming from a youth. And I'll talk more about the teen perspective when it comes to advocacy. But yeah, it means a lot to be here. So thank you very much. I'm going to talk a lot about how you can influence the youth in your organizations or wherever you work, and how you can turn ideas into initiatives and impacts in your community. So a little bit about me, I'm Keiko, I'm a junior at Alhambra High School, and as stated in my introduction, I do a lot of different advocacy work, but I didn't really know how to connect it in my life. I didn't really know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go with all the work I was doing, and it wasn't until organizations like ImpactTeenDrivers came into my district and gave me the platform and the mentorship to turn my skills that I have learned from all these experiences into impact that can change students' lives in my districts, and that was really inspiring to me, and that's the one thing I hope you take away from my presentation, is that the work that you put in really does matter and it really does influence us and change lives. So how does it connect and how can I impact a youth? So the Be the Change Fellowship, which Kevin will talk about a little bit more, but they are an organization with ImpactTeenDrivers who goes to school districts or schools, and they pull out students, and we attend a day-long event, and it's really cool. There's guest speakers, there's a press conference, but we do learn about firsthand testimony of distracted driving, and I had never known that it was the #1 killer of teens. I don't even have my driver's license yet, but I have friends who have driver's licenses, and I've been in the car where we were goofing off and taking photos while they were driving, and I had no idea about the dangers of it, and so not only was it a transformative experience for me, learning about, wow, this actually can kill people, but it also made me think, what can I do to help make sure this doesn't happen again? And so I was elected as student board member, but I was also on the council. And through that, I do influence preferential board policies that can directly impact the students in my district. I'm in a unified school district, so I represent students from TK all the way through continuation school. And not only is it distracted driving that we're trying to stop, but also pedestrian safety. There are kids who walk to school who are constantly on their phones. In San Gabriel High School, which Kevin will talk about, 80% of students take the bus. So when we look at traffic safety, not only is it the students who are driving to school, but it's also how are students getting to school, their parents. I have a street where next to my school where I saw someone almost get hit by a car because they were looking at their phone. So these are real things that are happening within my community. And so I started to transform what I learned from the Be the Change event directly into policy, but also spreading awareness. I'm going to talk about some of the projects and initiatives that I started. I know that looks like a lot of text, but one of the things that we did with the Student Advisory Council is at every high school, so we impacted over, I believe, 5,000 teens, was we gave out information, brochures, pamphlets at the National Teen Drivers Safety Week, and this was a really amazing experience, and I had students tell me, I didn't know this was a problem, and so that was really inspiring to me. Even giving something out informationally was really impactful to them. I also collaborated with my school film club and my local city council. You can see this image right over here. That's was our mayor, and he was agreed to be in our PSA, and that was so cool that we actually got students to be in the video and be our actors and our film people. They didn't even know about distracted driving, and they're like, oh, I want to collaborate on that project. And we worked with we didn't work with Impact Teens, but we submitted to their Create Real Impact contest. We did not win, but that's okay. It was a really amazing experience, and we learned a lot. And I'm going to just skip a line. I'm also working to bring Be the Change back to my district, a part of Be the Change is not only educating, but it's also empowering students to create projects and bring it back to their communities, and in some sort of way. So once you graduate, you're a Be the Change Fellow, and then there are many of them who went off to start their own initiatives or projects around distracted driving. So if you're interested in empowering youth in your community, this might be a really great opportunity to look into. But I am working to bring that back. And then I'm going to go to the student testimony on distracted driving. Everyone here in this room has been impacted, knows someone who's been impacted, has seen firsthand distracted driving. Maybe someone's on their phone. I've seen my mom flip people off when she's like, hey, pay attention, Like that happens all the time. And I'm going to be very honest with you. Testimony and firsthand experience is the one thing that really gets youth going. When we can see it firsthand, when we know it, when we resonate with it, that's what makes us really care. So even if you have students who are not the most passionate about something, there are so many ways to make them passionate, to make them care. And so I collected over 40 testimonials from students at my school who've had experience with distracted driving, who have had their family, and they just recorded their stories. And we're working on publishing that, but with that publication, we're going to educate that this happens within our campus. It's not some faraway statistics. This happens to people, and this is why you should care. And then last is utilizing positions to increase impact. Through my student board member position, this is the California State Superintendent, Tony Thurman. I met senators, congresspeople, and through these positions, I'm able to talk. And I think it's pretty surprising that they're pretty surprised when a youth comes and approaches them on the situation. So if you have youth and you know certain people in legislative positions, get them in those rooms, get them to talk to them. It's very impactful. And then my last slide is how to involve and connect with youth. So one, make it personal. This goes back to the testimony. Everyone has a story. Connect with them. Ignite that passion. Next is value our opinions and feedback. I'm only 16, and I know that I have a lot of room to grow, and I don't know everything in the world. And I'm sure when you look back, when you're 16, you're like, wow, I was really different. But that doesn't mean our opinions are less valid. That doesn't mean you should dismiss us, I guess, and value our opinions and feedback. You can educate us if there's something we're not aware of, but I've been in rooms where I've been completely dismissed and my opinion was not taken for what it was, and that can feel really degrading and make me not want to come back into these spaces. So next, show our voices are making a difference. Sometimes when I submit a survey or I make impact, it just seems like it goes off into the abyss and nothing happens. If you say, hey, what you did, this letter that you wrote, or this person you talked to, they actually started an initiative, or they were inspired and went to pass this legislation, to show that our voices are making difference is very impactful, and it wants us to continue to do the work. Next, which the other panelists talk about, is to make it fun and engaging, which is, it's kind of hard to sit through like something that's really long or like a lecture, so have some active participation, pass out some candy. Empower youth and building trust. Mentorship is one of the biggest things that have got me to where I am today. If it was not for the adults who gave me feedback, all of you guys, I'm sure you know a youth who wants to be inspired. Inspire them, connect with them, be their guide, and they can accomplish great things. We can accomplish great things together. So find that youth and really hone in on that. And last is foster a sense of purpose. Why are we doing this? Why is this important? And if you keep that mission statement, if you keep that purpose throughout all your work, it really reminds you how far that you've come. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Keiko. Ann Muggli is a senior at Oaks High School in North Dakota and is a student leader in the state's Vision Zero school program. She's a standout athlete. She's an all-state volleyball player, state track qualifier, and also a two-time national FCCLA qualifier. She also serves her community through the Stronger Together Foundation, supporting cancer patients. Ann will attend Valley City State University to major in social studies education while competing in volleyball and track. Please welcome Ann.
Hi, like Ryan said, my name is Ann Muggli and I'm from Oaks, North Dakota. I'd like to first start with sharing with you a little bit about North Dakota schools. So there's only 484 schools in our entire state. And there's 5 active one-room schools, 34 of our school districts have less than 100 kids. 129 of our schools has less than 300 students, and there's only 13 schools in our state with more than 1,000. Basically, what all that means is we are very small and we are very rural. That star in the southeast corner of the state is Oaks, so our little corner of the state borders South Dakota and Minnesota. A little bit about Oaks, there's less than 1,800 people in our whole town, and only 154 kids in our whole high school. That bottom middle picture is of our town's one and only stoplight, and the nearest stoplight is almost 60 miles away. Another thing a lot of people find surprising is that we do not have Ubers. I think I've been on more Ubers in the last 2 days than I have in my entire life. It's been an experience, it's been fun, but it's been different. Oops. But just because we're small and away from people doesn't make us exempt from motor vehicle fatalities and serious injuries. Oaks is located in Dickey County. On the right side of the screen is Dickey County's crash map. The green dots represent property damage, the blue dots represent injuries, and the red dots represent fatalities. Rural areas are known for having high fatality rates per capita because of things like increased speed and long emergency response times. Another thing that's connected with that is hospital access. There is one hospital in my entire county, and most of the towns and counties around us don't have one at all. This leads us into Vision Zero schools. Vision Zero School program targets interested schools and communities to help them establish a strong commitment to traffic safety. It uses peer-to-peer outreach, which is amazing, like all of these other kids talked about, and it can have a big impact, and I know that coming from a teen. It uses outreach and allows students to share about the preventability of crashes. My school got involved with it because I heard about it at a state student council conference, and I knew it's something that we had to become a part of. The picture on the left, top left, is from our first cycle. Each school commits to a 2-year cycle. That's the first one. And then we just started our second cycle almost a year ago. And since then, we've added students and expanded our outreach. Right now, there's 13 active Vision Zero schools in our state, and over 80 students like me working hard to make a difference. Each school is given personalized PSAs and banners that are professionally made from our DOT, and you post them in your schools and communities to get the word out about Vision Zero and safe driving. The first step in being a Vision Zero school is picking an emphasis. So our 5 are seatbelts, distracted driving, impaired driving, buckle up, phone down, and speed. Schools pick them based on a lot of different things. Students are really important in this process because we see what's in the parking lots, we see what's in the community, so get them involved, ask them what they think. Another thing a lot of schools have done is make surveys, send them out, and see what the other students think the biggest problem is. Like I said, Oaks started our second cycle almost a year ago now, and at the time we were trying to choose a second emphasis, we realized there were multiple crashes within a couple months where unfortunately people weren't wearing seatbelts, so it made the choice obvious for us. That's what we wanted to focus on for the next 2 years. Vision Zero Schools has small communities doing very big things. A lot of things I'm going to talk about, yeah, they were done in Class B schools with, like Cole said, 70 students, but they're all scalable. They can be done anywhere. So that's in Carrington, the Cardinals, they're a Vision Zero school. Every school has basketball games. So Carrington turned one into a Vision Zero night. And one of the many things they did was put Vision Zero stickers on the popcorn bags. Every school has a gym, so Grand Forks used theirs to host a Vision Zero day. That's 2 students on a distracted driving cart talking, which teaches them about the dangers of distracted driving. Lots of schools have homecoming parades, so Flasher used theirs to make a Vision Zero float and talk about buckle up, phone down with people, and they even had their SRO's dog Major involved. Lots of state events and state tournaments throughout the year, so Des Lacs Burlington students set up a Vision Zero booth and talked to North Dakotans about their role in safe driving and our goal of Vision Zero. Lots of schools have high school and elementary connections, so the Northern Cast high schoolers taught their elementary students about being a safe passenger and always wearing your seatbelt. Something that all of our Vision Zero schools have done is make positive norming posters. So they'll send out a survey to their students, and with the information they get back, they make these posters like those students on the left. And this is really impactful for especially small schools. You realize you're a part of that number. It's not some statewide statistic or nationwide. That's you. You're a part of that. And so that's been really impactful for teens at my school. Something that Flasher, one of our smaller Vision Zero schools, has done was run a seatbelt challenge through the month of February. They encouraged community members to take a picture with their seatbelt on next to a stationary object, and then they posted on social media to share for other people to see that we're wearing our seatbelts and that we think it's important. We use ImpactTeenDrivers a ton in North Dakota. So the Lamoure students, where Cole's from, went around to local businesses and they taught adults about distracted driving using ImpactTeenDriver resources. Something we've done in Oaks is traffic safety memes. So me and my friend made them because we wanted to put them in our SRO's office. People love them, and so we put them around the exits in our school as friendly reminders for people to drive distraction-free and always put your seatbelt on. The picture on the right is of Lamoure students. They made their own little PSAs and posted them on social media and allowed agencies like the fire department to share to help reach more people. A lot of the students have talked about social media is very powerful, especially with people our age. This picture of the students in the middle left is kids assembling winter safety kits. In North Dakota, you have to be prepared for everything. So they made them, sold them around Christmas time, and it helped prepare people for safe driving. It may seem like there are limited opportunities to share the traffic safety message in rural communities, but if we take advantage of things that are already there and elevate them to connect them to traffic safety, we can make a difference. So that picture on the top left, for example, is at my town's annual Halloween parade. We knew kids would need candy bags, so we made Vision Zero ones, and we put traffic safety information, pedestrian safety, seatbelt information inside for the kids to read about with their parents when they got home. The picture on the bottom middle, for example, is in Standing Rock. Their school is having a tribal wellness fair. There was already going to be other booths set up, so why not have a Vision Zero one? Their students went and shared with their peers about the importance of safe driving and how it can affect them. My favorite activities are always the ones we do with our youth, so the picture on the right is of our winter safety and driving day we did with our elementary kids. In North Dakota, it was too cold for an entire week for the kids to go to recess, so instead of recess, they got traffic safety. So we taught them a lesson about what changes in the winter and how does that affect them even if they're in the back seat. After that, they got to do a craft, and then we sent them home with information to share with their parents about winter driving. Now, it may seem even activities like that, well, that only affected that little group of kids we talked to, but it didn't. That stayed in our lobby all winter, and anybody who walked in got to see it and read more about winter driving. Rural communities have their unique challenges when it comes to traffic safety, and they may seem too different from big schools to have all the same things work, but if you think about it, work with other people, and utilize what your community already has, we can all make a difference in changing the culture around traffic safety and saving lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Kevin Tang is a sophomore at San Gabriel High School in Southern California and has a passion for competition-based extracurriculars and advocacy. He founded his school's Science Olympiad Club and participates in Future Business Leaders of America, developing leadership and problem-solving skills. Committed to community impact, he collaborates with ImpactTeenDrivers to educate his peers on safe driving. Kevin is eager to connect with others dedicated to advocacy and positive change. Kevin, you're up.
Thank you. I don't think my watch has ever seen my heart rate so high, but hello, my name is Kevin Tang. Like you said, I am a sophomore at San Gabriel High School, and this is my presentation, Be the Change, Student Advocacy for Safer Communities, where I talk about my journey as a student advocate. I rearranged the slide last minute, my bad. Okay. Traffic safety is something that's often overlooked. Admittedly, I used to overlook traffic safety too, but it impacts every single one of us in our room, especially someone like closer to my age, like a teen, where car crashes are the #1 leading cause of teen death. My advocacy journey started as I attended the Be the Change Fellowship, a fellowship organized by the nonprofit ImpactTeenDrivers, whose sole mission is to spread awareness and prevent reckless and distracted driving. During the Be the Change Fellowship, I was able to engage in interactive activities and learn heartbreaking yet powerful testimonies of those who had their entire lives changed by one single car crash. These testimonies and these events that I was able to engage in taught me a powerful lesson that anyone can be an advocate, no matter what position you're in. With the knowledge and the connections that I was able to make through this program, I felt inspired enough to create a similar event at my own school. Like you see here, these are all my friends. Thank you. With the help of my physics teacher and the resources brought to me by ImpactTeenDriver, I was able to create a traffic safety fair at my own school that focuses on 3 events, each created and dedicated to spread awareness about traffic safety in their own ways. The first activity was the Intoxicated Maze. This super fun, super cool maze involved drunk goggles or impaired goggles to help demonstrate the dangers and the risk of driving distracted or impaired. I participated in this event too, and those goggles are scary. They told me to walk in a straight line like before I wore the goggles, and I was like, oh, I got this in the bag. And then after I put it on, I could not take 3 steps straight. The second event, the Wheel of Distraction Journey, is an activity that demonstrated the dangers of multitasking while driving. Like, for example, you would pair certain conditions up. Like, say, I had 3 passengers in my car. They were all texting, gossiping, and it showed me like how distracted or how dangerous it could be. The third activity was the Take the Wheel game, where I was able to share facts and messages by creating informative and engaging stations. In order to build a strong student-led initiative, you need to first identify and recruit passionate students through youth-led programs or school clubs. Then you need to educate and empower them with trainings on pedestrian, biker, or driver safety, alongside public speaking and event management. Number 3, you need to provide creative and engagement opportunities. Like these other presenters have said, we need the activities to be fun, because me personally, I don't do well if it's not super engaging or super relatable. For example, one of the activities that ImpactTeenDrivers makes is a PSA contest where we can get money by making a unique exhibit or a peer-led skit or a video. Number 4, you need to recognize and celebrate their efforts through certificates, programs, and appreciation events. My advocacy journey has been a short one, but it has taken me very far. And these are 5 key takeaways that I've learned. Number 1, every voice matters. Regardless of your status, who you are, what position you're in, anyone can be an advocate. Number 2, start with a manageable initiative and lay the foundation for future growth. You shouldn't feel pressured to start something super big because you don't think it's not going to have enough impact, because any impact is some sort of impact. Number 3, collaborate with your peers, educators, and community advocates. Don't feel pressured to take everything on by yourself. For example, one of the people that helped me a lot throughout this journey is Alondra. Can you stand up? I don't know what I'd do without her. I swear, there was a week or a whole entire month where I was super stressed, but the second I started contacting with her, she took all the pressure away. Number 4, there is no age limit on being a successful advocate when working to create positive change. Number 5, don't be afraid to ask. When it comes to saving lives, anyone and everyone will respond to you as long as you do something and you speak up. Traffic safety is not just about the statistics. It's about your friends, your families, and your communities. By doing something, by making safer choices and encouraging others to do the same, we all can take one part in making a safer community and preventing these dangers. Thank you.
You guys, how about these teens? So we are at the question and answer portion, and I know these teens would love to get quizzed by all of you. Again, this is a recorded session, so we, unfortunately, I think for you, need you to use the microphone. And the teens get to sit back and relax, but guys, if you would pull those microphones up just a little bit closer, just in case you get a question. Again, your microphones are on, so if you have a question, little Miss Kelly Browning is looking to find some questions. We have one in the front. Please, if you would, just address your teen or whomever it's to, and then the teens will answer your questions.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be just for the panel, and maybe I can just go down the line. But can you share, and I know you all did such a good job already doing this, but maybe one of the most rewarding moments working in traffic safety with us?
For me, I think one of the more rewarding moments is honestly being here right now, getting to talk about all of the projects and things I've been working on for the past year of my life, getting to see it come together, seeing the impact it's made on people has been just amazing. I know we did a crossing guard event at my school, and getting their reactions and seeing how happy they were, that was awesome. Just seeing how it affects actual people and then getting to share what I've done.
I would also say being here is a pretty rewarding moment. I feel like everything I've done in the past 2 years is really summed up through this event. Something I also think is pretty rewarding is if I'm trying to do something in my school, like hanging up flyers or getting a video, and then I'm explaining to people what the coalition is about, that's also pretty rewarding because I feel like I'm explaining something so meaningful and something that I've participated in for such a long time, and that's a really rewarding moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of about the same, just being here and getting the reward of seeing people actually change, being in the parking lot, seeing people put their seatbelts on when they get into a vehicle and making sure they don't speed and all that. It's probably the most rewarding, just seeing the actual change.
To me, it's also being here, but I did, when I was recording the testimony and after I had the National Teen Driver Safety Week, I had someone tell me, I had no idea this was an issue, and I talked to my parents about it, and now we make it a rule to always put our phones in the glove department. And I thought that was just like such a small change, but it sparked from the initiatives that I worked and collaborated with my peers, and I thought that was, it really meant a lot to me.
I'm also very grateful for this opportunity, but like I said, my favorite activities we do are always with our elementary students, and the most rewarding thing for me is I was walking after we did our bike safety, one of the other events we did with them. A kid was walking in the hallway and pointed out our pictures and was like, "Mom, she taught me about traffic safety," and that made me so happy because I'm like, they remembered. And one of them came up to me and was like, "I'm gonna wear my helmet because of you," and I'm like, "Thanks, that's the best thing I've heard all day." So it's like the little things like that that I find the most rewarding and makes me feel like I'm having a big impact in my community.
The most rewarding thing for me is probably like seeing my own friends like participate in the events I'm in, or like just seeing people that I wouldn't expect kind of take that interest, like actually be really interested in just traffic safety.
I think I have the mic. Thank you so much. This is really wonderful. I'm over here in the back. My question to you, in our work at the City of Philadelphia, we do engage with youth on traffic safety. And what I would love to hear from you is that actually this is what cool kids are doing, and that's how you got into it, because it's really popular to do traffic safety. But in reality, I would love to hear what got you first engaged in traffic safety, what brought you to this. I think we've heard a little bit of that from a couple of you, but I'd love to hear from each one of the panel members as to what brought you over to caring about traffic safety in the first place.
Yeah, for me, my university offers a Apple service learning. I've always been really interested in nonprofits. I was involved in a nonprofit in my hometown dedicated to college access in high school. So I've always kind of had a love for it, and I wanted an internship opportunity that was going to help other people. And so I heard of SAD and I applied, and I got working with them, and I really owe what I do to Liza Fitzpatrick. She makes this job what it is for me. She's just amazing, and she keeps me going, and she keeps me here. Because, you know, traffic safety isn't something that I was super familiar with, and Liza kind of taught me that this is a field that I could really see myself in, and she's just wonderful. So if you have the chance to connect with her, too, she can reignite that in you as well.
So I got into traffic safety actually through my school. My guidance counselor sent out a flyer about the coalition, about being able to get recognition, leadership roles, volunteer hours. That's actually something I didn't get to talk about in my presentation. A good way to bring teens in is by advertising it as something that's going to be a resume booster. They're going to be able to get volunteer hours, recognition, prizes, rewards, leadership roles. That's a lot of what teens are looking for in their extracurriculars.
I'd definitely have to give a lot of credit to my mom, just her being on the ambulance and in a small town, her seeing and talking this and kind of bringing a lot of ideas back on how to make our roads safer, because I'm obviously on the road a lot. I got a 12-minute drive to school every day, and she knows I'm on the road a lot, so she just wanted to make sure that people and me have that information to hopefully make the roads safer.
To me, it was the Be the Change fellowship that I did, but also I think my own personal experiences and like scary experiences that I've had made me passionate about the work and truly understand the importance of it.
For me, I kind of talked about seeing it at a state student council conference, but even before then, I was really passionate about it because in a small town, I mean, no matter who you lose or who gets hurt, it's always impactful for everyone. But being in a small town, you know all 2,000 people, or you know their sister, or you know their mom. And so doing my part to make sure that everybody is safe and that everybody is watching out for everybody was really important. And Vision Zero Schools gave me the opportunity to do that.
I think, like Keiko, the Be the Change Fellowship was like the catalyst, but I've known a lot of people super dear to me that suffered from like car crashes and had their whole entire life changed. So that kind of like built me up to this.
Thank you for being here. I am a motorcycle cop in a traffic unit in Northern California. One of my duties is I am assigned to one of our high schools for traffic enforcement, traffic safety, and as a liaison. And I'm having to do a presentation to the entire high school next week. So thank you, I think, because after seeing your stuff, I have to go back and completely redo my PowerPoint and take some of the statistics and the talking head kids out of it. But my question is, we have nothing like this. I'm from the Sacramento region. Where would I go? How would I start to get a program like this in our schools?
For me, I work for SAD, Students Against Destructive Decisions. If you wanted to work with us specifically, we could get you in contact with the person that kind of oversees your state, and they will talk to you about how to set that up. But, you know, finding the right student, I believe that was mentioned in one of the previous sessions, like the previous panelists, was to find someone that aligns with you and what you're wanting out of this and what they're wanting out of this, and trying to find that person.
Yeah, I agree a lot with that. If you want to partner with any of the organizations, then getting in contact with them. But if not, if you want to start your own thing, definitely find the right student. Contact administration, because I know at some schools, admin is very strict with the type of clubs that they allow. But it's really how you advertise it to the students and finding that one passionate student that can really market it for you and make it something big and great in your schools.
Yeah, it's all about just finding the right people, finding the people who want to make the change, and they'll pretty much make it happen. They'll do the research, find the people to talk to, get it done.
Well, you can work with ImpactTeenDrivers because they can come to your state or to your school district and present on that, and that's how Kevin and I and thousands of students within our district have been impacted and have grown from that. And I know Dr. Browning, you could talk to her, who's actually in the Sacramento area.
Definitely something I've learned a lot at this conference is there are so many organizations trying to reach out for teens. So if like for you, you're going into that school, see what's popular and see what's working there. I know we heard from a panelist of FCCLA students. Maybe FCCLA is that school's thing. Get involved with their national programs, or SAD, or MAD, or ImpactTeenDrivers. There's so many. It's just finding the right fit for each school. Every school might be different, and so that's why go into the school, read the room, and see what would work for them, and talk to the students about what they want to see, and go from there.
For me, I just have a bunch of fun activities, because I think that's what works a lot for or at least for the students at my school. But yeah.
So I have two things. One is a comment and the second is a question. But first of all, I think all of you spoke so greatly, especially for your age. It's really great to see. And I just hope you guys continue on your advocacy journey because you guys made it sound fun and easy, but I know it's not always easy. So just so you know, most of us do recognize that, and I hope you continue. My question is, what kind of advice do you give to your peers? One of you mentioned anybody can be an advocate, but at your age, especially in high school, and I know some of you are from smaller schools, but those bigger schools that have thousands of kids, they're very conscious of what the cool kids are doing, what's cool and what's not. And so a lot of them are afraid of getting the negative feedback or being made fun of, or, it being a not cool thing. So what kind of feedback do you give your peers to kind of say, please come still be an advocate?
I think something good to do would be using social media as an advantage, either Instagram or if your organization allows TikTok, even getting on those trends, making those TikTok videos and distributing them, sorry, brain fart, distributing them across the school. That really, I guess, kind of makes it cool. Another thing would be to get the sports teams involved. Maybe, I think I saw on a presentation, they were in the background and they said something like buckle up. I would say 90% of the time the cool kids are on the sports team, and getting them involved and then distributing that to the school would also be really helpful.
Yeah, I guess coming from a small school perspective, kind of being on our Vision Zero team is the cool kids. Like, there's a lot of people that I always want to join. They're always like, oh, you're going to California, you guys get to go up to Bismarck. It seems like everyone wants to be on Vision Zero, and once you kind of get it started, it'll kind of take off and everyone will want to be on it.
Yeah, as soon as you asked that question, one of our coordinators looked at me and said, Vision Zero Heroes, because we kind of gave ourselves that nickname because, yeah, there's some cool kids, there's some kids who, we're all in different things, and it's just finding the group and getting them comfortable with each other and making them familiar with the information you're learning, and just like Cole said, get everybody involved, and then it does get to be more cool, but find the people who are passionate and kind of let them go from there.
I would say for the Be the Change Fellowship, the way the fellows were picked, where they were recognized by a staff member or by a teacher of being a leader. And so through that, there was a mix of the typical cool kids and maybe some of the more quiet kids, and we're able to form friendships and bonds and create like a really inclusive space. So, and I've never heard in my district that traffic safety or that it was like these kids versus these kids. It was just a thing that everyone could enjoy. It was a community that everyone was friends. And there's so many opportunities that sprouted out through it. The district always posts about like student opportunities, or the student was on a panel. And so I think people think that's more cool than comparing each other. That I've never had that experience, but I definitely know that by creating an inclusive community, it welcomes anyone to come and join the initiative.
Personally, I think they should just do it. Like, sometimes you need the push, and to realize that I don't think any cool kids would like kind of make fun of you for doing something really positive. Like, so I would just say just do it. Don't think about it. Don't get in your mind.
Yeah, I find each and every one of you very amazing, and it's inspiring to see young people into this society going into traffic safety. My question to each and every one of you is, what has been your biggest challenge, and how did you succeed in accomplishing your challenge and winning?
For me, my biggest challenge has just been getting started. I have about 20,000 undergraduates at my school. We have hundreds of organizations. We have a fight for everything at my university. We're very competitive, as I mentioned earlier. So we have to fight to get spaces on campus. We have to fight to get students involved. We have to fight for funding. We have to fight for everything. So I think sometimes that is the biggest challenge, is just honestly getting started. Because once you get really started and into doing something for a couple years, you've got those people that are recruiting their friends and you've got all these connections. But when you're first starting out, it's like, okay, how do I get connected with Greek life? How do I get connected with all of these other organizations on campus? How do I find a department that wants to work with me? How do I find a faculty member that wants to work with me? So I think getting started has always been the biggest challenge that I've faced so far.
I would say my biggest challenge is my school administration. Whether I'm trying to post a pledge wall or post flyers, I would say I have a very strict administration. I try to overcome that by sending lots of emails, trying to set up a meeting with my principal in person. But once I get through that barrier and I reach out to the teachers, they're usually very receptive once I explain what I'm doing and what my purpose is with the project that I'm working on. So admin is just the main barrier.
My biggest challenge has probably been just finding the right people, finding the ones that actually have passion for it. Once we found them, it was pretty easy to get started and all that, but definitely finding and picking would be mine.
To me, it was the initial breakthrough to get to the students. I think when we did the National Teen Driver Safety Week, a lot of students felt like, oh, they're just checking another box, passing out another flyer, does this really matter? And so to me, it was the testimony part of getting students' personal stories and then being able to share that on our campus, and students really realizing, wow, this really does happen to everyone, and everyone has an experience. So it's that initial push, but I think once we got that past that barrier, a lot more people were invested and interested and wanted to join the cause.
Definitely every different event group has their own problems, but I think ours, I've been very fortunate at my school to be supported with such a great SRO officer, great coordinators in our areas, and a great director that Ryan over there, like everybody's been very supportive, and we are lucky to have people sending us information all the time. And so we've had our challenges, but I've definitely been lucky that we have been very supported, and we've been very supported by our admin in this, so I'm very thankful for that.
My biggest challenge would probably like staying kind of consistent with like managing everything. I feel like I always get in my mind like maybe one day I'm too busy, and then the next day like I feel too pressured to like continue it. It's like, oh, like I'm kind of falling behind. But for me, it's just like remembering that any progress is progress.
And thanks for taking some time, panel, to speak with us today and take time out of your lives to do all the things that you do, and that's very great. And Ann, thanks for bringing a smile to my face. I heard you going into social studies education. That's my degree, and thanks for bringing that smile to my face. I appreciate that. I've been a 25-year driver educator, and studies are showing that students are taking less and less driver education, and studies and emerging research is showing that those that delay licensure and early education and driver education don't have as good of outcomes. So if we reach people earlier, their outcomes are generally better. So I have a very important question, and I'm not going to look at you when you answer because I'm going to write down everything that you say, even though it's recorded. I want you to not only think about yourself and your own experience, but the students at your school. And I want to find out what would be the ideal way for you to learn to drive. So if people aren't taking driver education, and you were to build a driver education program, what would that look like for you to entice you to get in and learn how to drive and reduce your risk out on the road? So anything you can share, much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, I remember when I was getting my license, I mean, I was lucky the county I was in really did support everyone kind of getting their driver's license. They hosted things. But one thing I did notice was that the classes are like 3 hours long for 3 weeks after school, and that's just something that isn't the most appealing. While I'm not quite sure what the fix is for that at this moment, I think making it maybe a better time or like maybe more spread out but not like as intensive. I just remember it was something that was dreaded throughout my high school. It was, oh gosh, like I've got to go over there and do that. And it wasn't offered at every high school. I went to a very small charter school, so I had like 44 in my graduating class. We didn't offer it. So I had to go like 15 minutes down the road to another school, which while that wasn't a big deal for me, some of the people that I went to high school with lived 40 minutes from it. So making it a little more accessible maybe.
So personally, I did not take driver's ed because driver's ed is only offered online in my area on Florida Virtual School. And for a lot of my friends, mine included, it lowers our GPA, even if we get an A in the class, because most of us are taking honors or AP classes, which go in as a higher grade point average if we get an A. Then if we start to take driver's ed, it goes in lower because it's not honors, it's just regular. So a lot of the people I know had that issue and did not take it, but it was also only offered online, so a lot of the people I talked to thought that it had no benefit to it because they think they're not going to have any real life practice. So I think getting into schools and trying to get a more structured program that's maybe somewhat more elective that wouldn't affect their grades would be really helpful.
I guess Lamoure is really fortunate where we always have a teacher that does it after the week school's done, basically just like another week of school. And it seems like in everyone in Lamoure, we all want to drive, so it's never really been a big problem of getting people to go to it because everyone lives far away and is sick of their mom having to drive them to town. But definitely just more hands-on experience, getting behind the wheel more with an instructor, getting real-life experience with it.
So I don't believe our school district offers any type of driver ed at all, and I had students who didn't even know you needed a permit to get a license. So that's when like the ImpactTeenDrivers that came with all the brochures and handed it out, and that was really informational. But we don't have any of those resources, and then we also go to a Title I school district, so majority of students can't afford to go to driving school, so they're just going to wait till they're 18.
I definitely think if I was learning to drive again, and at least like watching my friends learn to drive again, I think what would be important is almost less classroom time, more car time. And I know it's hard because, I mean, our school at least, like we have one driving instructor who's actually in the car with them. But I know like for me, I like grew up on a farm, so I was driving with my parents a lot to fields once I had my permit. But a lot of my friends who grew up in town didn't have that driving experience before they got their cars and were driving on their own. So I think somehow incorporating that you have more car time with an adult who's experienced. And also I remember going to one of the FCCLA students talking about this morning about not all parents are necessarily educated in proper ways to drive a car, so making driver's ed more student and parent, kind of like combining those together, I think would be very crucial for people regardless of school size or area where they live.
For me, I'm actually taking or doing driver's ed myself, but one thing that like me and my friends appreciate doing is that like doing it together, and like it just makes it a lot more fun. It's like kind of a challenge, but we don't like speed run it. We make it very inquisitive. Like randomly we'd be walking together and then we point to like a traffic sign, like what does that mean? Or what do these colors mean, you know? Like just like finding a way to do it with your friends.
We have time for one more question, I think, if it's a quick one. Anybody? If not, I heard word that these young leaders are going to be at the California Pizza Kitchen at 5:30, so.
Signing autographs.
Signing autographs. Nice job, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice job.
So I'm real quickly, I'm blown away, but I had enough trouble getting a B or a C. I can't imagine an A lowering my GPA. I can't get that through my head. So thank you. These teens, and we've seen a couple of them today, so any of the teens that have presented during this conference, what a breath of fresh air that we've seen the last couple of days. So on behalf of, I assume, all of us, how'd these teens do? Thank you all. Thank you for staying late with us. We really do appreciate you staying all the way to the end and supporting all of these teens' work. And all of you, thank you. Good job.